To you, Eben.
I cannot remember what I'd forgotten, my lady. That sort of sums up yesterday in court, Chriselda.
Well, certainly, Eben, we're expecting a cross-examination of Paralympian Oscar Pistorius to continue here at the North Gauteng High Court. Well, the focus, as you said, will continue to be on the toilet cubicle, as Oscar Pistorius now seems there are several inconsistencies in the story that he's giving relating to the events that led to him shooting and killing Reeva Steenkamp on Valentine's Day. The state maintains that Oscar Pistorius knew that he was shooting at Reeva Steenkamp when he opened fire, and that when he shouted in his home that morning, he shouted, "Get out of my home." He was actually referring to Reeva Steenkamp and telling it to leave the state, basing its case saying that there was a fight that took place at Oscar Pistorius's home and that Oscar Pistorius needs to admit to that. Oscar Pistorius breaking down several times. The state now accusing Oscar Pistorius of also changing the foundation of his defense, saying that he's changed it from self-defense to an involuntary action. Oscar Pistorius, of course, maintaining that that is not the case, and several inconsistencies really that have been eyebrow-raising in this case. And law experts are saying that Oscar Pistorius will have a very difficult time recovering from those inconsistencies.
I see a little bit more action there behind you, Chriselda. It looks like there's a little bit more commotion going on there this morning. He's asking the court, and what's happening there behind you?
Well, Eben, this really highlights the media's interest at this stage. The group that you're seeing here towards my right are supporters of another case that is taking place inside this court relating to the murder of a Klerksdorp woman. And really, the media really not focusing on that at all. Obviously, here for Oscar Pistorius, I think it really does shed some spotlight on the media and how the media or what they believe is interesting. This case totally being ignored this morning. There are a few supporters of Oscar Pistorius as well this morning. The same group that were here yesterday, they're also carrying placards and basically continuing to show support for Oscar Pistorius.
Yeah, there's a blog also up in support of Oscar. All very interesting stuff if you have time for that sort of thing. Let's just focus again back in the courtroom today. Of course, a tough day yesterday, but Oscar being accused of lying and faking tears and all sorts of stuff by Gerrie Nel. More of the same today, I would think.
If you could kindly repeat that, Eben.
I say Oscar was accused yesterday of faking tears and blatantly lying in court. Gerrie Nel would pretty much take the same line today, one would think.
Well, most certainly, Eben. Well, previously we saw Gerrie Nel, every time that Oscar Pistorius broke down, we would adjourn and give him time to compose himself. But it really seems like Gerrie Nel could not be bothered at this stage whether Oscar Pistorius breaks down. He accused the Paralympian of using his tears to evade difficult questions. And we saw basically Gerrie Nel digging in yesterday, getting him to answer those questions about why, number one, he did not fire warning shots, why he did not look for Reeva Steenkamp on the floor, several other places where Oscar Pistorius looked. He also asked Oscar Pistorius why he did not look towards the bedroom door, why he didn't check if Reeva Steenkamp had left through the bathroom door in order to go for safety if he thought that there was an intruder in his home. So we're expecting more tough questions for Oscar Pistorius inside court today.
Chriselda, the Steenkamp family, after yesterday, was quite an emotional day in court. Has there been any further reaction from them? You know, they've called him the devil last week. Anything else coming out of the Steenkamp sort of camp at the moment?
We've really been focusing a lot, Eben, on the reaction of June Steenkamp, Reeva Steenkamp's mother, and it's always been the same. She's very stony-faced. She really doesn't show any emotion. She doesn't use this entrance to go inside the court, and when she leaves, she goes out using another entrance as well, and really isn't saying much apart to the interviews that she's doing with the international media, and particularly media in the UK. No reaction whatsoever, but from Reeva's cousin, for example, Kim Martin, she has really been showing a bit of emotion where she keeps putting her head down when there are gruesome images that are emerging from inside court. And you would know as well, Mark Batchelor, who was also spoken about extensively in this case as well, where Oscar Pistorius is alleged to have threatened to break his legs, really showing, shaking his head every time Oscar Pistorius continues to give his version of events. Let's just focus this way a bit now, Urban, as Oscar Pistorius arrives for another day of what's expected to be a grilling inside this court. The media are on standby to get that shot. Oscar Pistorius about to make his way inside court now. There he is acknowledging one of his supporters, shaking his head there. I'm not sure if you saw that, shaking his head yesterday as well. He acknowledged the supporters who were here, who were carrying some placards, carrying a trophy with his name, and also CDs with Christian songs on it. That's their show of support for Oscar Pistorius. So another day of grilling expected for Oscar Pistorius as the media also goes in now to take their seats. Court to get underway again at 9:30 this morning.
Thank you very much, Chriselda. We cannot be more on top of this story, I tell you. Oscar Pistorius just getting to courtside there and going inside with all his minders, as you saw there, with a luxury vehicle dropping off. Just to recap then, State Prosecutor Gerrie Nel is most likely to continue with his cross-examination of Oscar Pistorius for at least another day or two, they say. This will be the athlete's 7th day in the witness box in the North Gauteng